Kev, what were you doing ducking out of the way of that helicopter?
I guess I'm not a hero of war like Billy the Sergeant.
You know it was like 12 feet above your head. It wasn't even close, man.
No, it was extremely close.
No, if it was close, then you got
Ben,
attacked by a crocodile at Chili's.
That happened too. You know above all that with my luck in the last few months, it would have been very likely that the thing would have flown straight in my face and I would have been blind.
I was actually waiting for it to come crashing into you. I said backstage, watch, it's going to crash into Kev. But
I know. I've been kind of cursed.
It didn't go down. Has Artosis been tweeting about you?
No. As far as I know, Dan likes me. Maybe that's the problem. Just hate me. Nah, just kidding.
All right, it's time for game number 3 between Byul and Polt. This is a best of 7, so a lot of StarCraft still to be played. Acheron Wastes, our third map in the series, all tied up.
The only map that we've seen Byul all in, pretty much the entire tournament, not taking the ZVZ series into consideration. Game number 3 here of the grand final, Ben. Game number 2 was awesome. I hope for another awesome game.
Now we see down here in the bottom right-hand corner of Acheron Wastes, the Red Terran player looked phenomenal. In his last map, it is CM Storm Polt. And Polt's opponent looking phenomenal through this entire WCS run. Managed to take the first map in the series. Can he strike back on Acheron Wastes? It is Byul.
You know, Ben, it feels like a century ago, but I think roughly 2.5, 3 months ago, we were driving up to the Blizzard studio and we casted a couple of games from the qualifiers and we saw Byul. He signed up, he cruised through the qualifier, then we casted him a few games in Challenger and it was very obvious that this guy came here for a reason. Back then already it was clear that he's a really good Zerg. I thought he was going to go far, but the way how far he has truly become, he's won so many best of 3s to get where he actually is. And you know, not just in Challenger, not just in the qualifiers as well, but ever since he made it to Premier League, he was able to defeat Arthur, Heck, lost to Paul, but then defeated Hawk, Apocalypse, Maxet and Jaedong. That's a very impressive list.
You know, Kev, even this morning I would not have predicted Byul in the finals, but he continues to impress. He has earned this spot, and he's giving Polt a hell of a fight here in this America final. Polt, again, with the gas opening, and it will probably be another Reaper.
And most likely, which allows us to talk a little bit about Toronto. Ben, how awesome is Toronto going to be?
It's going to be sick, man. I don't know if the crowd's going to be as good as this one.
It might be bigger, but will it be as loud?
But it will be a phenomenal event. I can't wait to get back to Canada. Been a long time since we've been there.
Yep.
If you guys haven't picked up your tickets, it's wcstoronto.eventbrite.com. It promises to be phenomenal.
With phenomenal players as well. From Europe, we got MC, Duck, Finale, or well, he is Duck, Genius, Vortex, and MMA coming over. So that's an awesome lineup, of course, of Korea. They're sending the big guns, Ben, Deer, Trap, Su, Soki, and Maru. And then, of course, we got the 6 guys of this weekend. Well, we know all the names. It's going to be such a sick event. I cannot wait.
It will be very exciting. Kev, something you said about Byul on Acheron Wastes is that he has consistently gone for all-ins here. It's still too soon to say whether or not he's going to do it again, but I think it's worth noting that Zergs often feel that Acheron is good for things like roach baneling all-ins because it's a big, wide ramp. It's hard to wall it off. It makes sense that they try it here. But it's almost for that reason that it makes sense that Byul wouldn't try it here. So I'm kind of on the edge of my seat, waiting to see what he does choose to do.
And then, of course, there is the fact that on the other side of the map you don't have your ordinary Terran, but Polt is sitting there. Polt doesn't really like to die to all-ins.
He just doesn't die to all-ins.
Polt doesn't die a lot in general. Not even his Marines.
His Marines don't die. Billy sure as hell didn't.
Factory is halfway done. So far, pretty damn similar opening for Polt once more. No second Reaper this time, though, Ben. Just that single Reaper. Oh, actually, it is in production. Sorry.
Second Reaper every single time. I would love to ask Polt why he makes 2 Reapers in every game. I don't think it's something we're used to seeing. It's usually either 1 or 4 or 5.
He also makes 1, and then he adds the reactor, and then he adds the second one.
Yeah, and he delays the Marine for so long, which means Overlords can get huge scouts and see everything that he's up to. He just doesn't seem to care. He says, hey, this is how I'm going to play. I dare you to do something about it.
Man, Byul is still mining gas, and that's a lot more gas than he was mining in previous games.
That is a scary sign already. And now Polt has begun establishing defenses outside of his base. He's also building Hellions, and
we're also seeing a lot of Overlords in production. I don't trust it.
But there's no Roach Warren.
Second,
Whoa.
super quick layer, 6 minutes and 5 seconds.
Okay.
At least, can we say super quick? I think that's pretty damn quick.
What are the possibilities off of this?
He might make a few more drones and then eventually take the other extractors and still go up to Spire. It could be some Nidus play as well. We saw Jadong with his very cool and innovative
It feels
Roach Nidus.
so strange to predict Nidus, but there's extra extractors going down, and that's more often for Spire than anything else.
Polt has no idea what's on top of this ramp, so he doesn't really want to pick, as he doesn't want to lose these Hellions. A couple of Zerglings could easily swarm around, but he doesn't have anything to worry about just yet. There are 14 links.
Polt just refuses to change his build, man. Vikings on the way out.
But this is something that we saw for so long from Polt. Also, when he played back then against Stefano, it was the same build every single time, just because it was so safe and he was getting away with it. Back then it was a little different, obviously, as the first Hellions and Marines.
They're playing with fire, quite literally. As they try to usher the Hellions out, they will pick off one before disengaging. Queens refusing to come off creep, which is, of course, exactly the right choice.
If you play with fire long enough, Ben, you eventually burn yourself.
If you play with fire, you're sure to then go Spire. As the...
That really makes no sense, because it's two opposite teams, man.
Why? Mutas are great against Hellions. Makes perfect sense, Kev.
Alright. Once more, we have that single Viking going on the Happy Overlord hunting. Couple of Hellions being surrounded in the middle of the map. A little bit sloppy here by Polt.
That's a great catch, and what does Polt have waiting at his wall? Well, he does have a bunker and a few units, so he's in no real danger, and Byul not even going to press his luck.
Kind of similar to what we saw on Poland. We do see another Overlord in production when he really doesn't need it. Baneling nest going down,
This
man.
is suddenly looking like the same build.
I don't think he even necessarily wanted to do it. Maybe it's just because of the fact he picked up those Hellions, and he's like, I can probably pick up those additional Hellions.
Maybe it's because he knows it works against Polt's build, as we see Command Center, turrets, stem finishing up.
It is the exact, I mean, this is a mirror image from Poland Night. We can load up Poland Night right now and continue. Other than the fact that it's a different map, no one will notice the difference.
They must have been talking smack in the game lobby. Polt's like, hey, you couldn't make that work again. Byul's like, yeah, we'll see about that.
Sure, man. Well, let's resume for replay. No, let's just do it all over.
All right, here we go. 10 mutas. If you'll remember from Polar Nights, Byul was supply blocked when he started his muta production, so this time they're going to come a little bit faster with a little bit more gusto. But there's also a return to droning.
Yep. So far that's not the case. Double evolution chamber going down as well.
Oh, Hellions! Why would you ever park them there? As the Lings will surround, and every Hellion is going to go down, or a single Reaper escapes with his life. But man, he has seen some horrible things.
I don't think he ever wants to return to battle.
I imagine seeing your buddy eaten by a Zergling would just be something you have nightmares about for the rest of your life.
Yes, man, I don't know what to say to that. 11 Overlords are on the map, so he's supply blocked again, actually, because of this Viking, man. This Viking.
This time it has 2 kills.
Yeah, that's one more than in Poland Night.
He too is not long to this world.
Burrow's being resist as well.
Burrowed Baneling, something that we've seen Byul try to utilize throughout this entire tournament. Didn't manage to make any huge Burrow Banelings connections in this series yet, but that doesn't mean that we won't see them later.
All these reactors are about to finish up, and that is the moment when Polt's production is truly going to kick in. Obviously, he wants to be, you know, he doesn't want to lose any of those, like that happened in game number 1.
And here come our first mutas. Only a single turret there in that mineral line means that a few SCVs are going to go down. Look at this. Couple of add-ons being built at the wrong time. Muta's not going to be able to pick up a medevac, but this is some great initial harassment with the Mutas, killing 5 SCVs, picking off an add-on.
And above all, it gives him the map control and the safety that he wants to go up to that very high drone count. He's on 71 at the moment. He might squeeze in a few more, as we know that he likes to go very high 70s, sometimes even low 80s before he truly starts committing to Muta-ling-bane. And Ben, I love the way that he executes it. I think in general his Muta control is great. His engagement with the Zerglings and Lings are great. His map control, everything about it is excellent. But I do feel whenever you want to play that style and you want to stick to it for such a long time, you're going to need to go for a clear moment where you say, all right, this is the moment we're actually going to try to win the game instead of trying to win fights, because you cannot deal with 3-3 bio for a very long amount of time.
It's true. Polt's 2-2 just starting. You know, I think one thing that Byul is exploiting here is the fact that Polt builds that 3rd command center every single time. I think if Polt played a 2-base push that hit right as these mutas are popping out, it'd be pretty tough for Byul to deal with. Lings will catch some units out on the map, but Most of them are picked up and flown back home.
I love the fact that he still has quite a few overlords spread around the map though. Despite that one Viking early on trying to usher away these overlords, he immediately replaced them. Overlord speed is about to finish up as well. I think it's going to be very hard for Polt to be successful with drops this game. I think that Byul, if we take a look at Byul's vision at the moment, he sees almost everything, man.
Great vision along the top half of the map. Doesn't have any real good vision along the bottom half.
No, he does have the Zelnaga watchtower and he's going to spread creep everywhere. He could definitely put an overlord or two in the corner, but you know, up to this point, Ben.
Yeah, up to this point, it's looking pretty good for Byul. We can certainly agree on that. Turret going to get picked off here as a few more SCVs are sure to die. Polt will be running back with his Marines with great haste, but not before a few workers go down. Responds by immediately rebuilding 2 turrets. 2 turrets are better than 1.
Ooh, apparently these Marines walked over mines. They did actually not that many.
Pacifistic banelings, the best kind if you're a Terran player. Oh!
Ow.
Not a pacifistic Widow Mine, though. Oh my goodness, Widow Mines hate Zerg things! Oh my god, that hurt! As, let's see, 9 kills, 11 kills, 5 kills, and that adds up to a lot of dead Zerg.
Yes. A couple of banelings as well, certainly the 11 one. Drilling class is being activated at the moment. There were apparently a couple of burrowed banelings. I'm not sure how big they were able to connect. But
so Byul strikes back. Macro-wise, Byul has just been completely uncontested. He's at 170 supply. His Mutaball is about to be approaching 30. It's 25 now.
Much quicker infestation pit,
yep,
huh?
Much quicker, and this is for smoother and more seamless transitions up to Hive Tech, I hope. It certainly is something that, that hurt Byul on our last map. Polt just doing what he can to control the creep spread, which has been excellent this game.
I think actually this is all very good for Polt, because this was a situation where, you know, there's a chance he moves out and immediately runs into a couple of lings and bailings, and he's going to have to macro up at home again, and it's going to take a solid minute or maybe even 2 minutes before he can actually move out. But now instead, he's already there, he kept those mines alive. I love how sneaky Byul did that. It's like it never happened, Ben.
And Polt's Widow Mines have been excellent this game.
He's going to try, I think he's going to try to lure him in. A couple of banelings rolling in over here as well. He's going to totally dance around him.
If Polt returns with this other group of units, he's going to be walking right over a couple of banelings. Byul unwilling to commit past that bunker.
And they're just death traps everywhere. There are banelings over here, there are widow mines over here, there are banelings over here.
Oh god, lings and banelings going to try to swarm into the waiting army of Polt, and there are some very good connections. Polt might pick off some full medevacs. This could be very painful. 2 medevacs do fall. A third goes down with units inside. Great attack here from Byul.
Great focus fire by Byul as well on those medevacs. And suddenly he puts himself up 50 supply. That was fantastic.
Just phenomenal. 11 mutas on the production tab. That'll take him up to 32 mutalists. You want to talk about terrifying.
Man, that's already way more than he ever had on the last game.
At that point, he can fly into bases and kill barracks.
Yep. He can idle above Marines that spawn and just pick them up immediately.
Caught out in the open once more, and that is very painful. Hive on the way for Byul. He's transitioning very nicely. Polt trying to secure his 4th expansion. This will be tough with 32 mutas out on the map.
So do you think it's just going to be for 3-3 upgrades, or are we going to see Ultralisk Cavern go down, or is he ever going to make some infestors?
I am almost certain that we're going to see some Ultras. Burrowed Banelings do connect with a small group of Polt's Marines. This is going to make Polt more frantic than he was already. No doubt being forced to scan every time he wants to move out. Byul does lose a single muta there.
Polt had control of that Zelnaga watchtower for a while, but Byul took it back. Byul is on 188 supply at the moment as he's making 34 additional links. He's throwing down a lot of spine crawlers as well. He's researching Pelagic Lens again, man. So
look at this ball of mutas, Kevin. This is what happens when you have 32 mutas against buildings. 1, 2, 3, skip a few, and this command center is going to die.
Yeah, for the cost of a few mutalisks, but that's very well done by Byul.
Yep.
Excellent pickup.
Lost 6 mutas there in the trade, but it does severely slow the expansion of Polt, who decides that he does not want to build another command center.
He's also going to lose all these turrets. Man, Byul's just doing such a good job over here.
Great work with the mutas. Also denying Polt's movement around the bottom half of the map. We see Byul taking his 5th base. He's doing it all right, Kevin. There's the infestors and a 2nd infestation pit because, hey, 2 is better than 1. This is a misclick. This happens all the time at every level. I is right next to you on the keyboard. So Byul was trying to start an Ultralisk Cavern, and he hit I and started another infestation pit. He hasn't noticed this yet.
Well, he's sure going to make the hell out of those infestors.
There are 3 of them on the way. 3-3 building for both players. Polt's is going to finish much sooner than Byul's.
No.
Did not catch it.
I love how they're next to each other as well. Engagement over here with a couple of Widow Mines. Has to be careful. A lot of friendly fire has been done, but a couple of these Marines will survive.
Tons of units dying on both sides as Polt somehow feels it and scans and kills those burrowed banelings. But with Mutas joining the fight, Polt has no choice but to get the hell out of Dodge, and he's not going to get away with much as Medivacs will be focused down again. Byul doing everything right on Akalon Waste. I'm so impressed with his Zerg play. 60 Zerglings reinforcing right now. I'm surprised that Byul hasn't started that Ultralisk Cavern yet.
He's going for Great Aspire instead, which is interesting. And, you know, I don't really mind it considering the fact he has Infestors out. It's completely going to change the landscape of this game.
There it is.
He will throw an Ultralisk Cavern down as well. But the fact that he slowed down this forward race from Polt, that makes such a big difference. Because now Polt, again, doesn't have 180, 190 supply, which he would love to be aggressive with. It's just 150, and now he's kind of afraid to take a bad fight. A couple of Banelings connecting big time with Marines over here. Polt just doesn't have the army that he needs to be aggressive with, and now he knows there are Infestors out on the map as well. He will think twice before stepping on grid.
You know, now that Byul is beginning to tech out of Muta, he's been losing Mutas here and there. That Muta ball not as scary as it once was. He's down to 15 Mutas, 14 now as he takes not such a great fight again. Well, okay, much better now as Banelings get some great connections there. Byul flies away with 13 Mutalisks. This is no longer a number of Mutas that Polt really wants to or needs to worry about.
Oh, and he's going to pick off a few more, and this might trigger the reaction that Polt really needs to start being very aggressive. But there are Ultralisk on the way, Ben. 3-3 upgrades are about to finish up. He just doesn't like his Mutas anymore. He's over it.
All right, so the good things for Polt, he's taken the Mutas out of the skies. That's no longer a threat. He's got a very formidable, well-upgraded army that will, frankly, be able to fight even these Ultras. For Byul, he's got Ultras on the way with Infestor, and the Infestor empowers Ultralisk so much. When Bio Army can kite the Ultras, they're scary, but not that scary. When the Bio Army is stuck, Ultras are a Terran's worst nightmare.
Polt is splitting up his army. He's going to be aggressive on the north and south side at the same time. Fungus could land big time, but he doesn't want to fight before the Ultras, which I can completely understand. It's very funny that Byul is very paranoid about defending his base, while Polt is very paranoid about defending his base. And they're right next to each other, Ben. That's when it gets awkward.
I just want to be neighbors! Couple of Widow Mine detonations on single groups of Zerglings. This is a pretty good attack from Byul, pressing forward. A good fungal does land on a lot of the bio, and there's a very happy Ultralisk in the mix now. Medivacs gonna be picked from the skies by the remaining Mutalisks, and Polt will not be able to take this expansion. At the same time, Polt's gonna try to counterattack in the top half of the map. There are spine crawlers in position, but they do not stand up to the focus fire of 3-3 bio, and Byul is running back home as quickly as he can, but it might cost him a hatchery, and it will, yes, it does go down. Great pick off there for Polt, so he trades a command center for a hatchery. Both players taking some damage there, but Polt continuing to be active, has another group of units moving towards the 4th expansion of Byul, and this is what makes Polt so great, Kevin. He just never stops attacking. Yeah,
I love it as well, that he's not just sitting back and waiting for that one big fight, because he knows that's going to be very tough. This army's in a pretty dicey position at the moment.
Flanking Ultras are going to show up just in time, and there is not enough energy on that back infestor for the fungal. Polt forced to run away. He gets out of there with most his units. It's 143 supply to 160. This is so close.
The army supply is in favor of Polt, and I also feel that Byul has lost so many expensive units, Ben. He had 7-8 Infestors, now he has 2 of them, and as much as I love Ultralisk, without the Infestors, it's going to get a little harder.
Let's not forget the 32 Mutas that have died, Kevin. The fact that a few Ultras have gone down. If we look at resources lost, Polt has been far more cost effective than our Zerg player. 26,000 resources lost to 19,000, now 20,000. So Polt trading exceptionally well.
There are only 3 Banelings on the map, but a lot of morphing Banelings are right here. A couple of Marines, Ultras trying to stand on top of these Marines will connect reasonably.
Yep, good swipes from the Ultras. Spine crawlers do help out. Muta's trying to do something about this planetary at the top of the map, but there are too many Marines for them to contend with, and Polt is in the midst of securing an expo. 5 Broodlords on the way. This is something Polt is completely unaware of. Not a single Viking on the map. The issue is Vikings are fairly quick to produce, so once Polt sees this, he just has to begin that production.
This base is so important for Polt, as long as he secures this, and Byul knows this as well, but he can't really do anything about it. The biggest problem as well, Ben, is that Byul's army is already so small, and with Broodlords, it's very powerful, but it's going to be even more small in a way that it just doesn't really move, and Polt can just start throwing away Marines everywhere all over the map and take more and more bases. He might be able to eventually secure this base as well, as Byul just doesn't have the army where he can defend 2 locations at once.
That's not how you want to be trading many banelings for 2 Marauders. It's hard to call that a win. Broodlords are finally revealed. They are clearly going to be excellent against the Widow Mines and against anything that can be locked down by Infestors. This is a great fight for Byul, and Polt forced away once more. The problem we have here is that Byul is so far from the expansions he wants to be attacking, and it takes him so long to get this immobile Broodlord force into position, as we see a few more mutas going down.
And
180 supply both ways.
I completely agree with you, Ben. I even think by the time that Byul is finally ready to attack and he really wants to commit to attack, Polt's just going to avoid him. He's just going to run away. He's going to try to rally up as many units in his own base as possible and then just fly them out and escort them out. Polt is not going to take a straight up fight until Byul is absolutely dead in his own base. This is so hard. This is such a difficult position for Zerg to be in. You have this strong, terrifying army, but when can you actually put it to good use?
You cannot force Terran to engage. It becomes very difficult. See a little bit of a fight unfolding. Need to land a good fungal, and we do on the Medivacs. That's a very important pickup for Byul. The Medivacs represent a lot of Terran's mobility, as we see Polt in full retreat. A few Marines and Marauders also caught out by these Ultras. They will evacuate with great haste. 174 supply to 190 supply. Still a close game, but as you pointed out, a far more mobile Terran force with 3/3 upgrades is going to be hard for Byul to contend with.
The Viking count isn't really where it has to be, though, if Polt eventually wants to start sniping these Broodlords. He has 4 of them on the map, 2 more are on the way. He's also starting +1 weapons. I do like where Byul got himself now, Ben. There are no real unit from Polt anywhere out on the map, and he's about to siege this also important 5th base.
Byul has managed to cross the map with no Terran army behind him, which is great. Polt not able to counter right now because he's going to need to use his full strength. Fungal oh my goodness, that's an expensive loss for Byul. If an Infestor going down.
Oh my god, this engagement by Polt, Ben.
It is amazing. Marines closing in from both sides. Ultras fighting on both sides. Byul knows the importance of keeping his Broodlords alive, but there is way too much Terran, and Polt has just crushed this attack. Good game. Just like that. See him